Hello, everyone. I'm Nolan Myers, CEO of DoubleGDP. We're building an end-to-end platform for new cities to connect with residents, accelerate growth, and deliver responsive public services. I'm here today to bring you a company update from March through May of 2021 in preparation for our quarterly customer council meeting. So let me start by sharing how we're doing on our overall goal. As you probably know, we track our overall progress in terms of number of residents in DoubleGDP cities. In March through May, we went from 12 to 24 population, so doubled the population in GDP cities. Not quite where we had hoped to be at this time, but still at a place where we have line of sight or visibility to being able to hit our end of year goal of 100 people living in cities. So I would say overall exciting, and wish that we had gotten 2 more. How did we do against our plan? So let's look at this. So the expectation that we set at the last quarter was to have 3 new product areas that we wanted to invest in, a couple of customer success goals, a couple of program goals, and we wanted to welcome a new partner. In the product, I'd say the things that we had set out to do largely ran into some challenges and some reprioritization, partly due to welcoming a new customer and having to make a lot of updates in the application in order for them to be able to make use of it. So on payments, we did launch a feature there, but we regressed. And I'll bring you into a little bit more detail on each of these slides later. But we launched and regressed in payments and have been doing a release every couple of days of the last week, and we'll continue that until we get that feature back out and operational. On the construction journey, we decided to focus on manual processes first, and even though we made some product investment, we realized that was premature. And on maps, we did roll out a few new features, but didn't get quite as far as we had hoped. We did internationalize the application and make it multi-tenancy so we can support another customer, another community, and made it much more modular so it should be easier to maintain and add new features moving forward. On the customer success side, our goal was to grow the housing stock and the construction. We do have 3 new units from prefabs there. And we wanted to inspire clients to take residency, but have not been able to do that yet. On the hackers and residents, we have 6 new hackers that we've welcomed. We have made some progress on the construction rewards program, but not gotten as much traction as we wanted and not gotten as far on that as we wanted. But we also started a staff and residence program where we have 3 new people joining. And then in terms of strategic partners, we welcome Ciudad Morazan, and we welcome them to our customer council meeting. And we have a guard training. We've actually done 1 guard training with them and are planning on doing a remote deployment next week to get the app in use. We have conversations with 2 other customers that we would like to welcome, and I'll share some of the learnings from those conversations later in this presentation. So let me take you through the product areas. In payments, we have now the ability to manage a leasing product payment. And so we can manage the payments themselves, except not taking the payments, I should say, but recording that a payment has taken place. Allocate that toward a plan, capture a signature, track a change of everything that's taking place in the system, and download CSVs. I mentioned that we had rolled that out and regressed. Some of the features that we have since rolled out since that initial deployment have been fixing some of the search problems, making the app easier to use, adding receipts and statements, and removing invoices as one of the features of the application. All of this is done in the last sprint based on the feedback of what was going wrong in that regression and that we needed to adjust for our customers. So thank you very much for the feedback there. We can talk a little bit more about change management. I think some of the learnings here is the importance of when you're rolling out a product into an existing process, just being a little bit more deliberate about the as is and the to be process. And I don't think that we appreciated that as we started on this endeavor. On the construction journey, we have moved people in now. So we have 12 new residents. We moved in both to prefab houses and to built houses or constructed houses. And and like I said, we started building some things in product that you can see over here, and then actually moved back to a spreadsheet because it was a little premature and we needed a little bit more flexibility in our mental model. So some of the big learnings are the importance of matching both residence and housing stock at the same time, so that you have a similar number of units available to people ready to move in, and how difficult to get that timing exactly right it can be. We had delays in water, power, and sanitation hookups that I think we're learning to anticipate a little bit better, and also delays in terms of the furnishing and landscaping and moving people in. So all of some of those logistics of moving can also be problems. We overcame a lot of that, but also in our next step of getting to the next level of scale, we want to formalize some of those learnings, and we're exploring some ways around checklists, spreadsheets, and even product features that might make that a little bit easier to manage, and also looking at some data updates or data cleanup in the application to make that happen. On insights from maps, some of the new features that we rolled out, we have points of interest now that have the ability to have photos, and we have an ability to import a whole neighborhood at a time, or even draw an individual plot on the maps. This is exciting. We had hoped to make the maps a little bit more visible in the UI and have full city coverage by the end of the quarter, but those are some of the things we'll look at for the next quarter. On the unscheduled things for the product, we did an internationalization project where we now have the full app in both English and Spanish. This is managed through a phrase.com integration, so the translation is done on the fly, and we can update it as new features roll out as well. An ability to have a community settings page, and in fact one to be able to set different currencies for the whole community to be operating in. And also an unscheduled product set of features are around multi-tenancy and modularization. So this is both in terms of maintainability of the application and usability of the application, but also makes it nicer for users as well. So we have a left nav bar that has all of the context that is specific to the role of the person that's using it, and a right nav bar that shows up based on the context of whatever screen that person's in. So it gives a lot more power in the usability of the application, and also opens up the home screen to be more contextual, so that we can choose based on role what kinds of information needs to be displayed there. As we're doing that, we also worked on branding and some email templates that were managed previously outside of the application. We've now brought into the application to make that easier for administrators who want to roll out marketing campaigns through the DoubleGDP app. On our residency programs, we're excited that we have now 6 hackers, 13 artists, and 3 staff living in the city. We have many new works, paintings, sculptures, and a mosaic sink, whatever that is, available or to build a sense of culture at Nkwashi. Some of the things we're thinking about here from these programs now are how to connect this with permanent residents. I mentioned earlier that one of our goals is to have permanent residents moving into the city, not just people in our residency programs, and trying to learn the ways that we can actually connect the dots between the people who are in the city from our programs and full-time residents of the city. Some of the ways that we're thinking about are welcome to the city processes, or onboarding processes, if you will, for new residents that I think can also be relevant for welcoming full-time residents. And we're thinking about ways to expand these programs, and both in terms of the number of partners and in the ways that we're recruiting new people to join. And then finally, on the customer success side, we moved in 3 prefab units this quarter and 12 residents, and just learned a lot about all the logistics of doing that. Like I said, that we'll look to formalize in the next quarter. Finally, I want to talk a little bit about strategic partnerships. I mentioned that we welcomed Ciudad Morazan. Very excited to have you work with us, and thank you for making that choice. We have 2 other conversations that are in process today. And one of the things that's very exciting to me is seeing the alignment of needs among various new cities. So these conversations really give me a lot of confidence that we can build a community that is of new city development developers who are learning from each other and who are getting value from the same set of product features. So some of the things that we've learned that are important to potential strategic partners that we're talking with are messages, workflows, and incident management, connecting around utilities and being able to share this with their residents, having some sort of emergency response or a panic button that we're going to extend into our Guard, our security module and Guard flow, and having news and community that we already have in the app today. But I'm glad to hear that that's something that new potential partners are also thinking about. And finally, this vision of platform as a hub and being able to have DoubleGDP play a centralized role in the city, but still be able to connect with third-party developers or applications is still resonating quite well in our conversations. So those are some of the learnings we have from strategic partnerships. That's it for today's update. Thank you very much, and I look forward to a productive conversation in our customer council meeting. Thanks.